Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the pretty fascinating world of tourism planning and development. Honestly, you can think of this whole process exactly like an architect's meticulous blueprint for a massive skyscraper. I mean, you wouldn't just start pouring concrete without a master plan, right? Well, the exact same goes for building a successful tourist destination. It takes a ton of vision, precision, and a really deep understanding of the landscape.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Why planning matters. 2. Planning versus development. 3. Destination scales. 4. Step 1. Situation analysis. And 5. The blueprint for action.
Starting things off with Section 1. Why tourism planning actually matters.
At its core, planning is fundamentally defined as using the past to decide now what you want to do in the future. It sounds incredibly simple, right? But it's absolutely crucial. It highlights that all our past failures and successes are this rich goldmine of insights. They literally provide the wisdom that tourism managers desperately need to make better calls for tomorrow.
Look, the stakes here are massive. Haphazard planning doesn't just mean you lose a few tourists. It can lead to severe environmental catastrophes and social displacement that genuinely ruin the local quality of life. But structured planning? That unlocks immense growth. Actually, ever since the Seal of Good Local Governance Act of 2019, having a tourism, culture, and arts program is straight-up mandatory for local government units. Nailing this brings prestige, and more importantly, it unlocks crucial funding that goes right back into the community.
Moving on to Section 2, Planning versus Development.
We really need to make a vital distinction here. Concept 1 is planning. Think of this as a highly collaborative intellectual exercise. You've got experts from architecture, disaster risk reduction, finance, local community leaders, all putting their heads together in the present to map out the future. Now, concept 2 is development. This is the actual physical execution. It's where that blueprint finally comes to life, physically converting a raw natural or historical resource into a functional destination.
And development actually breaks down into what we call the 8 A's. We're talking accessibility, accommodation, activities, amenities, ability, administration, awareness, and attitudes. It's a lot, I know, but let's just zero in on accessibility for a second to show how powerful this is. We aren't just talking about building an airport, we're talking about seamless internal connectivity. Imagine an airport where you literally walk out of the arrival gate and step directly onto a dedicated train line that drops you right at your resort. That kind of seamless, game-changing connection requires intense planning way before any physical development even starts.
All right, Section 3, Understanding Destination Scales. Before you build, you gotta know your plot size, right? So we start at the absolute micro level with tourism sites, or TSs. These are the highly specific, localized spots travelers actually show up to see. It could be an existing natural wonder, a historic monument, or even a completely blank slate, a greenfield site just waiting for a brand new eco-resort. Zooming out a bit, we hit tourism development clusters, or TDCs. These areas start piecing together multiple sites. They generally rely on contiguous land masses, meaning the local geography naturally flows together, and they usually feature vital gateway cities that help them handle long-term capacity and just offer a broader range of experiences. Stepping up again, we have Tourism Development Areas, or TDAs. Now, what sets these apart is that their boundaries aren't just geographical anymore. They correspond to specific administrative units, like a whole municipality or a province. A TDA has either a ton of existing tourism activity or the raw potential for major development, backed up by the amenities to actually support it.
And finally, at the very top of our scale, the big ones, Strategic Destination Areas, or SDAs. These are massive. An SDA groups together multiple adjacent priority TDAs. They boast such a critical mass of diverse attractions that they can sustain all sorts of development at the same time, like having an intensive resort zone right next to a strictly protected nature reserve. Because they're so robust, they can be promoted on the global market as completely standalone destinations.
Okay, Section 4. Step 1 of the actual process, situation analysis.
To answer the fundamental question of where are we right now, planners have to look outward. They use the PESTLE framework, that's political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental, to assess the macro environment. These external factors totally dictate your opportunities and threats. Like a social trend towards solo travel, that's a massive opportunity to create new experiences. But an environmental factor like the COVID-19 pandemic, that's an unprecedented industry-stopping threat. Planners have to aggressively sift through this data to spot trends before they upend the local market.
But they can't just look outside. They absolutely have to look inward too. Internal, microenvironmental factors dictate a destination's hard limits. Planners have to navigate local laws, like the NIPA's Act for protected areas, which strictly mandates low-volume, low-impact development. You have to rigorously enforce a destination's carrying capacity. If a place gets pushed past its breaking point, you see severe regulatory actions, like the incredibly necessary 2018 lockdown of Boracay for environmental rehab, or the super strict daily visitation limits over at the Puerto Princesa underground river.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the blueprint for action.
So if step 1 was asking, where are we now? The very next logical question, and I really want you to consider this for a second, is where do we want to be? This single question is what bridges the gap between analyzing our current situation and actually taking actionable steps to build the master blueprint. To figure that out, planners follow 4 concrete structural pillars. Step 1, setting goals and objectives. Step 2, formulating strategies. Step 3, determining action plans. And Step 4, monitoring and evaluation.
Let's look at how this builds in reality. Goals are usually pretty broad, like saying, we want to support local farmers. That's great, but planners have to break that down into smart objectives. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So, that broad goal becomes a strict objective, like boosting the proportion of locally sourced produce in tourism businesses from 10% in 2025 right up to 30% by 2030. Now that is a target you can actually manage and measure.
Once those objectives are locked in, those broad strategies turn into tangible action plans. A perfect real-world example of this is the Tourism Road Infrastructure Program. It's a convergence program between the Department of Tourism and the Department of Public Works and Highways. The physical action is literally just paving roads to priority sites, but the strategic result? It builds accessibility, supercharges local economies, and actually tends to reduce insurgency in those areas, just by providing stable, reliable livelihoods. It's a total win-win.
But you can't just build it and walk away. A blueprint requires constant evaluation. Planners rely on strict monitoring indicators to measure real success. Are we actually hitting our targets for jobs generated? What does the air and water pollution index look like today compared to last year? If gender inclusion was a stated goal, are we tracking the number of women trained for local livelihoods or the proportion of women holding management positions? If any of these indicators show we're drifting off course, the strategy has to be adjusted immediately.
We've covered a ton of ground today, peeling back the layers on how complex, sustainable, and successful destinations are designed from the ground up. So I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. Look out your window. If you were the architect of your own city or town right now, knowing what you know about carrying capacity, infrastructure, and planning scales, what would the very first step of your tourism blueprint look like? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.